Hello everyone, my name is Anitsu, and I'm back with another Digimon Spoiler Sunday episode. So this is the time of the week where I take a look at all of the spoilers that we got over in Japan and, well, talk about them. So before I actually get into the spoilers for the brand new starter deck, now that BT11 is finally closed, as we wait for BT12 spoilers to kick up, we got new information on what the starter deck is, the cards involved in it, what's going to be reprinted, so on and so forth. So here's all of the information that we got over in Japan, but we actually did get some English news in regards to when and how we're going to be getting the starter deck. So as far as all of this information, it did come from GTS, one of the US distributors for the Digimon card game. So this was their statement on what the starter deck is going to be about and everything involved around it. So it's still going to be that special edition starter deck where everything is going to be in foil with a chance to get a random special card for collectors. The English slated release date currently is March 24th, 2023 as of the recording of this video, and then there's just a couple of talking points to go over. So this time we're going to be having a special pre-release event for the starter deck. We're going to have stamped cards to go along with the pre-release, and we're going to be limited to purple decks in celebration of this deck. And then the whole idea is for players to be able to pick up this deck and be able to play in the tournament even if they are a brand new player. So it still gives them something to be able to pick up and play with if they really wanted to participate. Then the pre-release pack will contain all 12 cards from the brand new starter deck with the Beelzemon Cup stamp on them. And then for those who are unable to attend the special pre-release or special colored locked tournament, they're also going to be including these cards in the April store tournament kit. But the big difference is the prize cards in the tournament kit will not have the Beelzemon Cup stamp on them, so it seems like that stamp is going to be limited to just this pre-release event. And then as far as what the deck is actually going to contain, well, it's going to have one deck of 54 cards, 50 cards and 4 eggs. It's going to have 9 switch cards, which are going to be the special reprinted cards, which may or may not help the deck. It's going to have the memory gauge, and it's going to have the sleeve set. So in terms of what the deck list is going to contain, well, we actually have the full deck list and the quantities and ratios involved. So it seems like based on the starter deck's ratios, you still are going to be abiding by the Bandai 2 deck rule, which means that you're going to usually want to pick up 2 decks, smush them together, so that way you'll have a full playset of all of the cards, because as we can see, some of the cards only come in 2 quantities, and Digimon playsets are 4 quantities, so that just kind of makes you want to buy 2 decks to be able to have the full playset. But with this deck, we do actually get some pretty decent and important reprints. So the most important reprint is going to be the Promo 77 Wizardmon, which helps with the whole mill-based strategy on being able to set up your mills. So as far as the other reprints go, we get the BT2 Ipman, which has the on-delete ability of being able to mill 3 cards off the top. Then we have Skull Satamon, which is another mill-based card that's interacting with Demon Lords, and we have Death Stinger as a good card that wants to be milled and interacts with having a large trash count to act as some solid removal. Then, as far as some of the special reprints, we did get 4 out of the 9 special reprints, so we are going to be getting the starter deck version of Guilmon and Vmon again in brand new lovely alt arts. Then we're going to be getting a reprint of the EX2 Ipman on top of probably the big highlight out of all of these reprints as of right now, which is going to be the secret rare Beelzemon from BT2 with the nice warp ability. But in terms of the actual cards that we got spoiled, we got a whole evolution line out of that starter deck spoiled for us. So let's just dive right in and go over all of these new cards. So first up, we have a brand new version of Yaman. So this is going to be the deck's Digitama, and it has this nice inheritable ability of when attacking once per turn. If this Digimon has Demon Man or Demon Lord in its traits, then we get to trash the top 2 cards of our deck, acting as a good mill engine to be able to help set up our trash for what we need it to be when we're going to be trying to aggress. So that way we could try to have our trash be at a particular number to make our cards as playable as we possibly can. Next up, we have a brand new version of Ipman. So this brand new version of Ipman is a pretty decent card that wants to interact with Beelzemon. So he has this nice when attacking ability where if we have 20 more cards in our trash, then this Digimon can Digivolve into a Beelzemon from our trash by ignoring its Digivolution requirements. Whether or not we have to pay for its Digivolution cost is cut off, but I do think that we would still probably have to pay for its Digivolution cost, considering this is a really nice card to be able to line up a Warp Power Play with. Then on top of that, it has a nice inheritable ability for our Beelzemon to take advantage of, where during your turn, once per turn, when we trash a card from our deck, which is the whole sub-theme of Beelzemon, then we get to delete one of the opponent's level 3 Digimon, acting as some solid control for when we are using our Beelzemon or any Digimon that's this Digimon is going to be underneath. Next up, we have Porcupine. So this is probably the most boring card of the deck, but it's still a pretty okay card, being a solid level 4 purple Digimon. Hard plays for 4, evos for 2, has the blocker ability native to it, and an on-play ability where we get to trash the top 2 cards of our deck, so that way we have an easy card to hard play, set up a nice blocker, or recur to be able to set up a nice blocker and help mill our deck, so that way our deck's trash count could be as high as it possibly can be, as quick as it possibly can be, while still having a decent body on the field. Next up, we have a new version of Balman. So this new Balman is going to be another really decent card to help synergize and line up our powerful Beelzemon plays. So he has a nice When Digivolving ability where we get to trash the top 3 cards of our deck to obviously try to put our trash count as high as it possibly can for our abilities to be as powerful and effective as they possibly can. Then he has a secondary When Digivolving ability where until the end of the opponent's turn, this Digimon gains the following ability of on delete. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, then we get to play one Beelzemon from our trash for free, which is pretty nice considering we have some decent Beelzemons that we could be interacting with. This effect it really wants to be played with the Cross Hearts Beelzemon because he actually does have an on-play effect, but it's still just a good card to be able to pull out any of our Beelzemons and use our Beelzemons with. Then he has a nice inheritable ability for when we Digivolve him into a Beelzemon, where during your turn, if this Digimon has Demon Man or Demon Lord in its traits, then it gets plus 2000 DP to be able to make our Beelzemons a little bit more aggressive. And then the last card that we got spoiled this week is going to be a brand new version of Beelzemon. So this brand new version of Beelzemon is a pretty decent card. He has a nice When Digivolving ability to trash the top 4 cards of our deck to combo with the Ipman, so that way we could actually use the Ipman's inheritable ability when we're able to warp into this Beelzemon with that card. Then he has a nice secondary ability where during all turns, once per turn, when you trash a card from your deck, namely off of his When Digivolving ability, but not exclusively limited to his When Digivolving ability, for each 10 cards that are in our trash, we get to gain 1 memory. Ideally, with the warp play off of the starter deck Ipman, we're going to be gaining 2 just because we need to have 20 cards in our trash in order to be able to warp from that card to this card. So that just makes this card really efficient to be able to use in combination with that Ipman already, and this is just a really good version of Beelzemon in general just because of that memory gain to be able to make him tempo efficient. Then on top of that, he has a third ability where during your turn, once per turn, when a card is trashed from our deck, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn to try to increase the overall damage output for what this deck can possibly do. But just hopping back over at the starter deck list, it seems like this is going to be a pretty decent starter deck just because it's also coming with some Bell Starmons, which means we might get some more Three Musketeers support. It has a brand new version of Blast Mode, it comes with the Tamer, and it just seems like it has a nice well-rounded package for what Beelzemon is trying to do on base. And obviously with all of the other Beelzemon support that we already had in the game, it seems like Beelzemon is going to actually be a pretty decent deck when this starter deck rolls around. So that's all I really have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and down in the description below are a couple of different ways you could support me and the channel. So I do have a TCG Player affiliate link, so when you use that link to buy cards off of TCG Player, then some of that money will go to supporting me and the channel. I also do make and sell playmats over on Overcard Gamers on Facebook, so when you buy a playmat with my design, then some of that money will also go to help supporting me and the channel. And on top of all of that, I do have a Twitch account over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu, so giving me a follow and a subscription also helps support me there, and I do play Digimon on top of various other games on that platform as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.